It's certainly the chaos in the Middle East. There's no doubt about it.
I believe that nuclear Iran remains the biggest threat, along with the spread of ISIL. Climate change, of course, makes cascading threats even worse.
I think it has to be continuing threat from the spread of nuclear weapons, nuclear material that can fall into the wrong hands.
The scientific community is telling us if we do not address the global crisis of climate change, transform our energy system away from fossil fuel.
Our greatest long-term strategic challenge is our relations with China. Our greatest day-to-day threat is cyber warfare against this country.
That's a guy with credibility. Those are the Democratic candidates. And that was the answer to the question, what is our greatest national security threat? Do any of these answers qualify them to be commander-in-chief? Joining us right now is a Navy SEAL Team 6 member, man on the bin Laden mission who killed bin Laden, Rob O'Neill. Rob, out of those 5 that you saw on stage, who made you feel best about leading the country militarily?
Good morning, Brian. Great to see you. It made me feel the best. I was comfortable with Secretary Webb. He's got a lot of experience. He's a Vietnam vet. He fought against the enemy on the ground.
Son served.
Most of his family did. Secretary of the Navy. He was an Undersecretary of Defense. And it just seems he's very realistic about the threat of China, what they're doing in the South China Sea, how they're building islands and gearing up, and not really afraid of any deterrent that we have. It's just he seems very experienced. The problem he's having right now is because of the way the Democratic Party is. He's more of a Harry Truman, JFK type Democrat. He's not moving towards the socialist that this country seems to be moving to on that side of the aisle.
Bernie Sanders, who did not vote for any war resolution, even the 1991 Persian Gulf War, here's what he said.
Yes, I happen to believe from the bottom of my heart that war should be the last resort, that we have got to exercise diplomacy. But yes, I am prepared to take this country into war if that is necessary.
Very quickly.
He didn't even recognize ISIS as an enemy to the country.
They didn't recognize ISIS as an enemy. They don't recognize Russia as an enemy. He was asked about what we're doing with Russia, and I think he said, well, I think Putin regrets it. So if we're going to go forward with a let's cross our fingers and hope there's karma instead of a forward defense, alliance, solidarity, and deterrent, that's going to be an issue.
I think that in the big picture, too, everyone was just running from the Iraq war, a war in which you fought in. Does that bother you?
It bothers me the way they talk about it because they're very quick to blame the Republicans for the invasion, which you can say that was a mistake being hindsight. But at the time where we were, with the threat of everyone saying there's weapons of mass destruction, it was time to go in. They never once mentioned that we pulled out too quickly, which we did too. There's a lot of problems with ISIS, but they're not even recognizing ISIS.
And in the big picture, too, the sequester has gutted the military. Has anyone talked about building up the military? When you talk to the guys serving right now, do they feel it?
The guys feel it. They're noticing in spots where not enough fuel to do the proper evolutions. And these are guys at the highest level. Just the budget cuts alone have stopped some training trips, things like that, and a lot of the stuff they could be having to train. It seems like when the Democrats talk about, they just talk about supporting the vets after the fact. They don't want to build anything up to deter. They want to take away almost.
And when Bernie Sanders says, I was chairman of the VA and I've been on the Veterans Committee, is that something to brag about?
It's hard for me to even take that too serious because he's a conscientious objector. And he seems to be against most defense, everything, not everything, but a lot of things that I believe that he believes in the health care for vets and the mental health.
Right.
But it just.
But has he executed it? What is the state of the VA system? And he's been there.
He's been there a while, and right now it's a typical government employee. You can't get past the bureaucrats to get to the people that are providing the health care, which do a great job. I go to the VA, and it's so hard to get an appointment and get to your appointment. Definitely not on time. Once you get to them, it's fine, but it's difficult to do it.
If he goes against somebody on the other side of the aisle, they'll actually call him out on that. Rob, thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian.